Welcome to Coastal Conversation, episode 22. Thank you for listening today. As always, we remember Colossians 4:6 that reminds us, let your conversation be always full of grace, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how to answer everyone. As always, that is our goal today. Well, my guest today is our new worship pastor here at Coastal Church. His name is Pastor Jeremy Jones. As you all know, recently, Pastor Aaron and Margaret Penton transitioned to Miami to join the staff of Cool Church. To hear more about that transition, you can go back to episode 16 and listen in our podcast. And with that transition, we were so excited to be able to add to our team Pastor Jeremy and his wife, Josie. Today, I wanted to take a few minutes and allow you to meet Jeremy, get to know him a little bit better, and maybe get to know his family so that you can begin to welcome them into the Coastal Church family. So without further ado, welcome with me to Coastal Conversation, Pastor Jeremy Jones. Thank you, Pastor Jeremy, for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being on Coastal Conversations. I know this is always a little different for everyone being on the podcast, but I appreciate you being here. So I know that several of our Coasties at the Daphne campus especially have had a chance to meet you, but I wanted everyone to get the opportunity to hear from you and hear your story and hear how you ended up here at Coastal Church. So briefly, just tell us a little bit about where you grew up and what kind of things as a youngster and a teenager and a young adult you were into.
Well, in 83, me and my family moved here from Arkansas.
Okay.
And we lived in a town south of Birmingham called Alabaster. And so I grew up my whole life literally at church and playing sports. And so it was church, sports, family. That's all we ever did. And so I lived there up until about 2015. We left for 1 year before that, but 2015, God called us down to Florida, and we spent 9 years down there. And then we came here.
Yeah. So back up a little bit. So your family as a child, you were in Alabaster, Alabama, right? And then you went to church. And what sports did you like to play?
I loved football and baseball.
Okay.
And so being a short kid with a really big head, it was just one of those things. Basketball was not my thing. So I stopped playing that my freshman year. But I was blessed and able to play college baseball.
Okay. Where'd you play at?
I played 2 years at West Alabama. And then 2 years at the University of Montevallo.
Wow.
And
I didn't know that.
Baseball was just something that I loved doing, and I was fast and I could hit base hits.
Okay.
And so it was just a lot of fun.
That's cool. And so while you're in Alabaster, so what church did you attend there?
I was at Kingwood Assembly for the longest time. Now, for a few years, I went to the local Baptist church, and so it was a church called Westwood Baptist. And so we floated back and forth through there, but I was with Pastor Ron Cox for years. And so.
Did you feel a call in ministry at an early age when you were growing up?
Well, I sang most of my life. And so it wasn't until I got out of high school, I was probably 2 years into college to where I felt like the Lord was calling me into full-time ministry. I just didn't know how I was going to get there.
Yeah.
And so nothing really happened when it came to ministry for a really long time with full-time, because when I got married, everything changed. And so it just shifted to taking care of my family. And so just trusting God would.
So you went to college for 4 years playing baseball. And then how did you meet Josie?
Well, I was down at West Alabama.
Okay.
And my sister wanted to come visit me and my buddies because she was friends with all of my friends. And I had just recently broken up with my girlfriend.
Okay.
And Josie decided to come with her. And so we were all going to go hang out one night, and she comes walking down the steps of my townhome after everybody's getting ready. And I was just like, I think I'm in love with this girl.
Wow.
And I never told her that because she always says that, I was head over heels for her instead of, all those things. And I actually was.
Yeah.
And so, but I never knew how it was going to play out. But my sister told me one day, she's like, look, I know you're going to marry her. She's my best friend. And so you better not mess this up.
Yeah. and so you didn't.
I didn't.
When did you guys get married?
We got married June of 1999.
Okay.
And so we've been together for 25 years, married, and we've been together for over 28 years in all.
Wow.
So,
that's cool. And how many children do you and Josie have?
well, we have 4 girls.
Okay.
And so my
That's
oldest.
a lot. That's a lot of estrogen in the house.
It is. And I actually wanted 5. And
Oh, wow.
Josie was like, no more.
After 4, she was done.
She
so
was
did
done.
you ever want a boy, or did you just want a lot of kids?
After I held my first daughter, Zoe, she was 8.5 weeks early.
Oh, wow.
And I never wanted I only wanted girls from that point forward.
Really?
And so.
And you're a girl dad. You're an epic girl dad.
I love my girls. I love taking them shopping and just hanging out, doing our thing. And
okay. That's so much fun. So tell us a little bit about them. So you have 4 girls. What are their names?
All right. Well, my
I almost said, can you name them?
Can I name
Yes, he can name his children. Let's hope.
Well,
Okay.
My oldest is Zoe, and she's 23 or about to be 23.
Okay. And where does she live?
She is currently in Panama City.
Okay.
Her and her husband are associate youth pastors at the Baptist Church in Panama City.
Wow.
And they have our first grandchild.
Yes.
Zeke.
And he's really cute.
And he is amazing. He's changed our lives completely.
So you got your boy through your grandson.
Yes. I'll take it.
Yeah. So Zoe is, what did you say, 23?
She's about to be 23 in November.
Okay. And then the next one.
Then I have Hallie, who just graduated from Florida State University.
Wow.
She's 21. And so she's working in the school system over there and wants to be an occupational therapist.
Wow.
And so she's getting her life together in Tallahassee.
Mm-hmm.
And so loving it over there. She's plugged into a church. And so,
Florida State. Last weekend didn't bode well for them very much, did it?
No, and I left her alone because
okay, I was going to say, did you text her?
She loves Florida State, and I don't understand why.
Okay, you're Alabama.
I'm Alabama all the way.
Okay. But she loves Florida State. I was amazed, side note, watching that game, how many people were over there supporting them. That was amazing how many people traveled for that game.
They've been setting that up for a while. We actually had some friends that traveled over to watch the game.
Oh, really?
And so they just made it a long vacation, and it just ended poorly for them.
It really did. I felt bad, kind of a little bit. Okay, so then after Hallie and our Florida State grad, who do we have?
Well, I have Autumn, who's about to turn 19 here in the next few weeks.
Yep.
And she is starting Florida State. We just took her over last week. Mm-hmm. And so
she's a freshman.
She's a freshman, and she's sort of in a weird situation because she's going to start almost as a junior.
Wow.
So she has that many college credits. And she's going in, and I'm not really sure where she's going to land, but right now it's nursing.
Okay.
So
yeah, she's a smarty, and she's so sweet. She's been around here in the campus since you moved, and she's a worshiper too.
Yes.
She plays the keyboard, and she sings and worships and writes songs, and very talented. Okay, and then the caboose. Who do we have?
The last one is Gabriella, and she's 13. She's at Fairhope Middle. She's in the 8th grade, and she is a combination of me and Josie with our strongest traits.
Wow.
And she was pretty much raised by the other 3. So she thinks that she has the run of the house.
Yeah.
And she pretty much does.
Now she does, really, because she's the last one standing.
Yes.
And she's a very talented athlete.
Right.
So she's starting to play soccer.
She's playing for the Union 10 soccer program here.
Okay.
And so they've combined with some girls from Mobile and here in Daphne and Fairhope area. And so they travel all over the place playing soccer. So it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, she's a really good athlete. She's really spunky. Tell us about your hobbies. What do you like to do in your spare time?
Well, I'm super competitive. So
yeah, I could tell with you and Pastor Tim.
Anything sports related, it used to be church softball because I was too old to play, men's league baseball.
We have a coastal softball team.
I have heard. I've been asking.
Have you already been approached?
Well, I've been checking it out because I've had to go to more of the coaching now that I've been in a pastoral role over the last 9 years. I have to watch my competitiveness out on the softball field, and so that's been a work in progress. But now I do a lot of pickleball and trying to do some exercise and to stay in shape. So pickleball, anything athletic related in your spare time you like to do. What do you and Josie like to do when you are together in your spare time? Josie's an adventurer. So
Okay.
we could wake up one morning and we could drive 2.5 hours over to New Orleans or wherever, and that would be a beautiful day for her.
Yeah.
And so
Ideal.
we just love to go places. And
Okay.
so I was able to take her up to New York. We've been to Puerto Rico, just different things, just having a really good time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now, we've kind of touched on this a little bit, but tell us, when did you sense a call of God into full-time ministry, and how did you begin to pursue that call? Like, what was that moment for you when you felt like, yeah, God, this is what I'm going to do with my life?
well, it started back at Kingwood Assembly
Mm-hmm.
that, and this was years upon years ago. It was probably right as me and Josie were about to get married, actually.
Mm.
And, I was down at the altar one night and I just felt, like God was leading me towards ministry.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how I was going to do that because I knew Josie's heart. As we started a family, she wanted to stay at home with our kids. So we got plugged in to youth ministry at first.
Mm.
And when our first baby got here, she wanted to stay home. So that shifted my sort of everything I was doing from ministry to,
Yeah.
hey, I need to get a full-time job that I can support her and we'll still be plugged into ministry. And that we've done that. We did that for basically 15 years.
Wow.
And, the whole time we were doing bivocational ministry at other churches. But then we were sitting at a dinner, getting ready for an anniversary service at a church we were serving at. And a pastor friend of ours asked us, hey, have you ever thought about doing full-time ministry and maybe doing kids ministry? And I said, absolutely, I have. And little did we know, about 7 months later, we were going down to Palmetto, Florida, and we had served all of our lives, and we were going to get our first full-time opportunity
Wow.
down there.
Where did you meet and how did you meet Pastor Tim? Because he's kind of your connection to us. Tim introduced you to us and to Pastor Chad and the coastal staff. So he kept telling us about this guy named Jeremy that was driven and hungry and great and all the things. And so we finally got to meet you. But what is your connection to Tim and Ashley?
Well, we met Tim and Ashley in Birmingham.
Okay.
When they were at Christian Life Church.
Okay.
And they were youth pastors there, and we had just transitioned from a church we were a part of, and we're just sitting in service, and they come up and start talking to us again, are talking and inviting us to do different things, and ended up being their son Cole and Zoe were born around the same time. And that's where the connection began. He got me plugged into singing in the choir at that church. And I looked at him, I was like, I don't have a clue what you're doing, man. I said, yeah. I can sing, but I don't know how to sing parts. And that's how our story, we've always been, we've pushed each other in different areas of life. And so
Yeah.
that's how
That's really cool. And y'all became friends then and just stayed friends over the years. Where have you served in ministry? So you've alluded to a few places, but we've kind of jumped around. I just want to make sure. So we started out in Alabama, kind of, right? Part-time, and then got your first full-time position in Palmetto.
In Palmetto, Florida.
Where you've been the whole time.
Yes.
How long were you there at that church?
I was there right at 9 years.
Wow.
And so we got to serve in several different roles. We went as the kids pastor.
Okay.
When COVID hit, we transitioned into an associate pastor role / young adult pastor, and helping with youth, doing outreach ministry, all different things within the community. So I feel like we did about everything there at the church other than being the lead pastor.
Yeah,
so,
you filled in the gaps everywhere. And that's kind of what you do in full-time ministry. It's you see a need and you meet it. And it's like, well, I've never learned how to do this, but here we go. We're going to do this, right? And God always equips us for where he puts us and what he's called us to do,
Absolutely.
He always equips. So you did that. Now, when did you feel the transition to come here to Coastal Church? So you were there for 9 years. That's a long time to be somewhere. And you have roots there. Your wife taught in that community. You've served that community. So how did you begin to feel that transition coming on?
Well, that transition was actually quite a long transition for us, because I would say probably back in, I can't remember exactly if it was late 2019 or sometime around mid 2020. But I want to say it was back around the late portion of 2019. We just felt like God was stirring something new inside of us. We just couldn't put our finger on it. So we're just praying, saying, God, what's next? And that was sort of our question, what's next? But then, fast forward a couple of years, I lost my dad during COVID.
Right.
And so I put everything on hold, and I was just like, God, I don't think I can make a decision right now. And my question went from what's next to sometime in about 2022 to, God, I just want to be ready.
Wow.
And so all of that to say that probably February of this year, I was sitting in my lead pastor's office, and we're just talking, and I'm just asking him, it's like, look, this is my heart. Me and Josie feel like there's something that's coming. We can't figure out exactly what it is. And I need you to help me get ready.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts talking to me. And in that meeting, God was like, okay, it's time.
Wow.
And that very day, I got a text from Pastor Tim talking about a possibility of an opportunity to come and do something. But it wasn't just that, it was multiple. And it was along the lines of just trusting God, saying, God, I don't know how this is going to play out, but probably the first part of March is when I was like, okay, I know that we're supposed to go to Daphne, Alabama.
Right. You just feel that confirmation.
Yep.
I love that it was a process. And I love that how God, when he orders our steps, and we've talked about this many times on this podcast, he always prepares us.
Right.
Like, we really don't know what's coming, right? But maybe in our Christian journey, we feel that anxiousness, or we feel that, for lack of a better word, anxiousness, or we feel just that stirring in our spirit that something new is about to happen, something new is coming. And how you postured yourself was so cool. That's really cool. Like, Lord, I don't know what it is. Help me, sense this. And then, okay, Lord, now help me get ready for whatever it is.
Right.
Prepare me now for what you have for me next. And I think when we stay in that perpetual position of, Lord, I don't know what's next, but I want to be ready.
Right.
Humble me, keep me attuned to your word, attuned to your voice. He always guides, and we won't miss it when we do that. I know a lot of people are like, what if I miss the will of God for my life? I think that's really hard to do if you stay close to Jesus and you're in his word and you're praying every day.
Right.
It's almost like he makes the steps obvious, right? He opens the doors and it's like, oh, okay. We won't miss the will of God, because the will of God is being close to God. And when we are close to him, he opens the doors. He orders our steps. He lights the path in front of us so that we don't miss his will for our lives,
Right.
And I love that you kept that in the forefront. How do you see yourself as a worship pastor and leader? Since this is kind of a new position for you, you have sang in the past, you've led worship in the past in different locations and different capacities, but this is a little bit of different role for you as a worship leader, pastor. What do you feel like your role is in this position?
Well, the great part of what I feel like we have an opportunity to do here is, as much talent and as many giftings that are here.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not about really changing what's happening, but it's taking what we have, continuing to elevate it. But it's the next generation that's the fun part for me.
That's good.
Because I get to look out there every Sunday and I'm seeing young people and even people the same age as me worshiping and able to let God highlight those people and go, okay, we're going to take this. You have a heart of a worshiper, and now let's just get you ready, because there's something more that maybe you don't know how to navigate to that spot, or maybe you think you're disqualified. I don't know what that looks like for anybody here, but I'm excited because as we sort of expand our footprint here at Coastal Church, we get to take these very people that are here, whether it be at Daphne or Bay Minette or watching online, and going, hey, there's a gift inside of you, and I want to help get that and let it just blossom.
Wow.
And so that's what I feel like the role for me will be. Singing and all of that. It's just helping someone lead someone else to have an experience that's going to change their life forever. Because I know with me, anytime that I'm in a battle, my worship is my weapon. And so I'm going to that place and it's just me and the Lord, and I'm just singing a song. And whether it's a song off of an album or whether it's my own personal song, that's just how I'm fighting.
Yeah.
And I want to help others be able to do the very same thing, because for me, it was that experience. One worship moment changed my life forever. And I want to be able to help someone else do the same thing.
That's really good. That's really good. I love that. Just elevating the next set of worship leaders at Coastal Church, pastoring them,
Right.
and then leading others to do what you already do personally in your own life, and that's worship. And so many times I know you say this to our team, and Chad has said this, what people see our worship team do on Sunday morning is just an extension of what they've done in their personal life throughout the week. It's not a show that we put on. It's not a performance that we do.
Right.
We are exactly doing what we say. We are leading others to worship. We're just in the front, leading them to do and to worship God. And I think that's really, really cool how you see that position and developing those leaders. That's going to be really cool moving forward. What has God been showing and teaching you during this transition period, maybe?
Well, it's funny because as much as, my prayer was, I want to be ready.
Yeah.
Now it's unpacking and finding, because we just moved into our new house.
Yeah. So you're literally unpacking.
And so we're literally unpacking everything, but it's probably the biggest thing that he's shown me and Josie and even all my girls, was that there is going to be a different way of living here.
Mhm.
Because we've always just been go, go, go.
Wow.
We've always been looking for what's next. And now it's sort of a season where we can enjoy and get to see what God has placed before us and just take everything in. The family unit, it's not going to have to be go, go, go. It's just the three of us really most of the time now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know how to describe it other than I'm excited to sort of see this new season of life of what it's going to look like, even for me and Josie, because we've always had to work so hard and go nonstop for so long. Sometimes we never got to hang out together.
Yeah.
And now in this moment, God has provided a way to where she's not having to be in a full-time job at the moment. And we can just enjoy life together. We can do ministry together. And I think that's going to be the exciting.
A refreshing season and
Yes.
and all that, a new season. That's really cool. So how are you and your family liking the community? How are you liking living down here on the Gulf Coast?
We absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And so we have found some spots that we like.
Okay.
And because we've been unpacking.
You want to share those?
Well,
or do you want the secret to not get out?
No, I'll share them because the people at Southern Antique know me by name now.
Really? Okay.
And it's one of the best. It's a fun place for me.
I've never been in there.
Oh, well, you definitely need to go.
Southern Antique. Where is it?
It's hard to describe.
Okay. And you're still getting to know the area.
I'm still getting to know the area.
Okay.
All I know is it's close to where the Piggly Wiggly is in
Got it.
Fairhope.
I know where
it's
you're talking
not
about.
far down.
I'm tracking.
And there's a Dollar General in the
Gotcha.
same parking lot.
Gotcha.
And it's sort of over in its own little hole.
Mm-hmm.
But, you walk in and you see all these things that people have refinished or whether it's new or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm just walking the entire place. It's like a maze. And so we've gotten like 4 or 5 pieces from there, but my wife thinks I have an addiction because I want to go there every other day to see if there's something new.
See if they have new stuff.
The
area. Yeah.
My wife loves the coffee shops. And of course, downtown Fairhope, we have been sort of regulars to Section Pizza and some of the different little boutiques there. So
that's cool.
I don't know
love
if that's,
that. And your daughter, your youngest daughter, she's just fit right in with the youth group and school is going well for her.
Oh yeah.
Middle school's a tough transition, but she's handled it like a champ. I think she already has the office staff wrapped around her finger too.
I think so. She
knows them as well.
She's a talker.
Yeah.
But she's also very social. So,
yeah.
I told her, we prayed for her and we're like, look, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
God's got friends for you here and he's got favor on you and she's just stepped right into it.
That's cool. All right. Well, fun last question, then you'll be off the hot seat. What's one thing that needs to be on our radar? Now, this can be a food or restaurant, a book, a podcast, one thing that's your favorite thing that you think we all should know about. Now, you just mentioned one, Southern Antique.
Yes.
That's on our list now, but what's something else?
Well, I mean, I've already said it earlier. I'm a shopper.
Okay.
But I love chips and queso.
Okay, now you're speaking my language.
Yes.
Tell me about this.
Well, like I will experiment with queso. So I like the meat in the queso. That little Mexican cantina place down in Fairhope, downtown Fairhope.
Okay, Cactus Cantina?
Yes.
Okay. See, Now that one, I'm a connoisseur of Mexican food, but let me just tell you, Cactus Cantina, I might need to go back and try it because I've only been there twice.
Yes.
It just didn't do it for me.
Well,
what am I missing?
That we put some type of meat in there.
In their queso.
In the queso.
Okay.
And I'm not exactly sure I don't know how to pronounce it, so I don't really want to say it on the podcast.
Right.
But you have those, but there's been all kinds of queso. I can eat, my kids love Moe's Southwest Grill.
Okay.
And it's good.
Their queso.
But
standard.
I just like any kind of queso, and I'll put quesadillas in it. I will put my burritos in it, fajitas in it.
So fun fact.
Yes.
I was telling Marissa, she's on our team here, and when you come over Saturday for the game, for the Alabama game, the only game really, that's, let's be honest.
Roll Tide.
Chad makes this thing every year. Now, he's already made his batches for the beginning of the season, okay? And he freezes them. And it's called Puke Dip.
Yes.
Now, I don't want the name to fool you, but it is an elevated queso. And the only reason it's called Puke Dip is one of their friends years ago when Pastor Charlie used to make it, came over and said, it looks like puke. And so it was nicknamed Puke Dip. And I mean, it makes it not very, so appetizing, but here's what we say. When you come over, it is an elevated queso, but you have to respect it.
Okay.
Because if you think I'm just going to keep eating it, it will bite back later on and it will not be a pleasant experience for you. So I'm just going to put his queso up there. Now, I haven't tried this batch. I think he tried a little bit of different. He added some different flair to it. It has literally everything that you can imagine in it. Meat, Rotel, Velveeta, the regular Velveeta. I think he changed to a Blanco too this year, added 2 cheeses. And it's just an elevated queso. But so you'll get that and you'll get to put it on your scale to see where it ranks.
Okay.
But have you ever tried Chili's queso at Chili's restaurant?
Yes. Yes.
That to me is one of the best.
It is one of the best.
Because it has the good meat in it.
If they don't burn it.
True. Because they do bring it in the skillet.
They bring it in the skillet. But no, that's a phenomenal queso as well.
So I'm just putting it out there. If anybody listening to Coastal Conversation or watching has a queso we need to go try at a restaurant, they need to let us know.
I'm all in.
They need to email us at the church or find us on Sunday and tell us where we need to go eat queso. But you're saying Cactus Cantina is on top list right now?
Well, I like it.
Okay.
I don't know if it's at the top of my list, but it's one of the places that I love. But I mean, even Los Tacos, I've enjoyed eating there.
I love Los Tacos.
And there's several others that I still need to visit. So, but those are a couple that I've been able to visit a couple of times now.
They took away my all-time favorite in downtown Fairhope called La Casina. And several years ago, and it's never been the same for me. Life has never been the same since La Casina went away. And they have one in Mobile. It's not the same.
No.
It's not on the level. But so queso is on our radar. Okay, I got you. That's my love language. Salsa and queso.
Yes.
When we lived in Denver, I know that, now you're on, this is my, Mexican food is my love language. So I'm going to go long. But when we lived in Denver, there was this little old grandmother, and she made the best salsa I have ever eaten. And she would bring it to me in the jars, by the jar. I would make myself sick. I would just eat salsa all week for dinner, lunch, dinner, all the things. Just salsa. But okay, queso's on our radar and Southern Antique. You got it.
You got it.
Well, thanks, Pastor Jeremy, for being here today on Coastal Conversation. It was a pleasure to get to know you. I know everyone is going to want to meet you on a Sunday. You're out in the lobby outside right now, and you are available and you're accessible. And so please, please, please come and introduce yourself to Jeremy and Josie and his family. Don't be strangers. Get to know them. Invite them to lunch with you, all the things so they can get to know all of our Coastal peeps. And if you're interested in joining the worship team, make sure that you reach out and you can email him at Jeremy. That's Jerome. Yes. It's spelled a little different. It looks like Jerome.
Right.
But it's Jerome. Why are y'all laughing? Because my group's laughing over here. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here today. Thanks for listening, and we hope you have a great week. Thank you for listening to this week's Coastal Conversations podcast. All of today's references will be found in the show notes. Also, if you enjoyed listening, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review. We'll see you at Coastal this Sunday as we pick the conversation up from here.